Right, hello and welcome back to another video. So this is my monthly portfolio update for the month of November that we've just been through. So a far better month than October, I'm happy to say. Yeah, October wasn't a great month. If you haven't seen my portfolio update for last month, then I've got a video of it on the channel, so just check that out before watching this one maybe. But yeah, November was much better. Markets have generally been moving upwards. I've had a few big gains. Yeah, generally, all in all, a better month than we've been seeing. I think it's actually my best month to date for kind of total portfolio gains this year. Let's quickly jump onto some slides if I minimize that. Yeah, so you can see I pulled a few screenshots off my Stockopedia portfolio. So monthly returns for this month was 2.66% versus the benchmark that I use is the FTSE All Share Index. So that's a collection of about 500-600 stocks in the UK, a range of market caps, because I tend to invest in a range of market caps. So that's we've beaten the benchmark 2.66%. I would have liked to have done a bit more than that. You can see. Let me put this down. Yeah, I would have liked to have done slightly more than that this month, but I mean, I can't be too unhappy with 2.66%. You can see at the start of the month, it went up very steeply. We got up to kind of over 3%, pushing 4% at one stage, and then it's kind of just leveled off through the year. We had a big kind of bit of excitement at the start of the month where the markets went a bit crazy, and yeah, just petered off a little bit. But let's hope that this continues into December. In terms of year to date, so last month was in this little dip, and I think I said in the last month it would be great if I could finish the year with 10% gains. And I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. Still not at all. Depends what's going to happen in December. But we've made a big push towards it. We're now at 8.8% for the year to date. So from January against the FTSE All Share, which is down 0.5%. So we're stomping the FTSE All Share. Obviously, in the US, the S&P 500 and things, they've done a bit better than that. But I have a portfolio split between the US and the UK, so it's difficult unless I went all in US stocks. I can't really use the S&P as a benchmark. And I do think the UK is going to outperform in the next year or two, so we'll see what happens with that on the next couple of years. And then this is the returns since I started this portfolio, so the beginning of 2022, so coming up to 2 years. And yeah, it's 7% versus minus 3.66 for the FTSE All Share. So again, not too bad. We've been going through a very if you're investing in the UK stock market, a very difficult period. I would say for the past kind of couple of years, it's been very volatile. There's been a lot of, especially in small caps, and I invest in quite a few small caps. There's been a lot of major drawdowns in share prices, and I've been adjusting my strategy over the past few months, trying to work out how to prevent that from happening in future. But overall, 7% for the last couple of years in these markets, I'm quite happy with overall. If I go back to this, you'll see that I have added, get my mouse there, I have added cash to the portfolio. So I'm not 100% sure how Stockopedia works it, but I think that means that 2.66 return is actually slightly higher. I could be wrong on that, but because I've added 25,000 cash to this portfolio, which is not cash that's just come from nowhere, it's cash that I had sat in my brokerage account on AJ Bell, that I figured it's cash that I'm going to be using to invest with this portfolio. So I figured I may as well add it to the stats to give a true reflection of how much the weighting of the portfolio at the moment. And that's obviously meant that my movements in the stock rises this month have been kind of slightly diluted by the cash that's sitting there doing nothing. But this now gives you an accurate reflection of how much cash I have to play with. And I also have some other stocks, kind of legacy stocks, that if you've been listening to my previous videos, you'll know kind of ones that I bought when I was learning and making mistakes. They're ones that I wouldn't buy today, they wouldn't pass my checklist, but they're ones that I hold. They're not part of this portfolio, They're just ones that I've held for a few years. And when I come around to selling them, that cash will then be transferred to this portfolio. So that cash will actually go up, but I'll always add it from now on just to give a true reflection of what I have to play with. So yeah, that is our portfolio returns. And then in terms of buys, so I'll run through these on the chart in a bit more detail in a second, but I bought Adobe, just an initial entry, 3 shares at $583 each. So it was about a £1,500 position. Microsoft, so I already have an existing position in Microsoft, but I've topped up this position just on momentum. So it's one of the things that I'm trying to make myself do more of now, is to add to positions when they're doing well, rather than averaging down. So Microsoft's been performing strongly, it's just broken through resistance. So I've added 5 shares to Microsoft. And Sylvania Platinum, which is a small UK based, well, they're based in South Africa, but they're a small UK listed platinum mining company that passes my checklist, and I've started an opening position in that, 2,200 shares at 67.9p. So if I load up the charts, so I've got Adobe loaded up, so you can see it on here, this is my watch list. So these are all, if you want to have a quick look through, you can. These are all stocks, if I go from the top, UK and US stocks that pass my checklist. So I don't think I've put a list out anywhere else, but these are all of the stocks on my watch list. So I don't own all of these by any means, but these are ones that I'm allowed to buy. So Adobe, so this is a long-term look at the chart. It's been kind of going up. They had the big pullback, and it's been on the rise. Unfortunately, I only kind of researched this stock around this stage, so I regret not researching it sooner, but I missed purchasing down at these levels. But it's been on a tear, and recently it's been kind of bouncing in this trading channel. And I, again, if you haven't heard me talk about it in previous videos, but basically I've adopted I brought some trading strategies into my investing portfolio management. So basically, I bought this on momentum. It's been in this trading channel. It's broken through the top of this channel with some decent volume. You can see the volume down here. More volume. So I bought on that day, and it's so far it's worked out quite well. The red line is my stop. So if it pulls back down and breaks back into this trading channel, then I will sell here. My thoughts are it will have a pullback of sorts, maybe all the way down to the top of the channel, but then continue upwards. And when that happens, when it continues higher, I will add to my position as it's proven that it's going higher. Microsoft, as I say, is the other one. There we go, just let it load up. So this one was an existing position. Let's zoom out slightly. So this is on the daily chart. So each candle is a day. So we bought all the way back here, and this is when I thought we were actually still in an uptrend. It just passed my checklist. It's one of the first stocks I bought in this portfolio. It might have actually been the first stock. So back in January 2022. Obviously, this was the start of the bear market, unfortunately. But I held all the way down. Not with my new strategy, I wouldn't do that now, but it hasn't turned out to be the end of the world. Microsoft's a very safe company, really. I timed. I bought very well, times almost exactly the bottom back in October of 2022, and then as it's been rising, I haven't really done anything with it. And then, as I say, recently been developing strategies to buy on momentum and breaking through resistance. So it recently broke through this prior high here, broke through, and I waited a couple of days to ensure that it wasn't going to dip straight back under. It showed some kind of strength, so I've opened a position. I've not opened. I've added to the position here. Just a small purchase, as I say, 5 shares, with the intention that it keeps going higher. And I've put a stop loss not too far below. That if it breaks down through there, I feel like it's losing momentum. So I will sell just this portion of the holding here. So I'm not risking too much. I think it's only kind of like an 8% or so risk. 7%. I'm risking there. And finally, the other purchase for during November is Sylvania Platinum. So as I say, these are a fairly small UK listed platinum mining company who they operate in South Africa. They pass my checklist. They're very well They're kind of cash generative, very good, strong, well-operated company in my opinion. They've been having a hard time of it. Platinum prices and the platinum group metals prices have been coming down recently, which hasn't helped the share price. And the reason for my entry here is this purple line is the value I've calculated as my fair value line for the stock. So anything below that I feel like is a very good price for the stock. And even with it being below that, I like there to be a sign of a bottom. So we can see here it's bounced a few times off this level, and it came down again and bounced back. So I saw that as more confirmation of this being a very strong support level. It's below my resistance, so I've started an opening position. As I say, it's only about £1,500, which is at the moment in terms of percentages of portfolio thing is kind of my starting position for all stocks. So the stop isn't too far below that. If it breaks down to this, it means it's broken through this level of support, and in my opinion it's probably likely to fall further, so I'll stop myself out there, so we're not risking too much at all. And then this green bar, so this is the overhead resistance now, so it's bouncing along in this trading channel, and it would be above the 150-day. If it breaks through that green box, I will add to the position and just start building out a more full position and continue adding on the way up. So those are the 3 buys I've made this month. Not too many buys considering how positive the markets have been this month, but there haven't been that many clear opportunities for me. Those are the 3 buys I've made. I've made a few sales as well, so let's get on to them. Let me bring this up. So 2 sales this month. The first one being Kainos, which is a UK software company, and Bioventix, which is a UK biotechnology healthcare company. So firstly, Kainos. So both of them I've exited the entire positions. Kainos for a 23% loss, which stung a bit. Bioventix for just shy of an 8% loss. So I'll get onto the charts again just to run through what happened with these. Right. So Kainos is in tech. So you'll see. Let all the chart drawings load up. So the yellow circles were my purchases. So this is Kainos. It's been in a downtrend. Really, I've gone back and looked at this to see if I made any mistakes, and I think I did. So this was the fair value line that I had. So my purchases were below there. I purchased here, this original one, because I thought we were kind of forming a bottom here. What I should have done is had a stop loss below this level. And sold out. Instead, what I did is when it falls, I bought more. So that's a mistake that I've made. So it's just, I think it's important when you do make a loss on a stock. Sometimes it's just bad luck, but sometimes there's obviously things you can do to prevent such losses in the future. So I think that's something that I could have done in this situation. But I had a stop loss when I made this second purchase here. My thinking was that there's a strong support level back here, all the way back down here. It fell to that low and then bounced up. And my thinking was we're not likely to go past that low again. But what I'll do is I'll build a position in this area, and I'll have a stop loss below that position. And obviously, what happens? We have earnings come out. It was a bit of a profit warning, and there was a huge fall on a single day, which was 22.5%, but it actually, you can see if I zoom in a bit, it went further than that. And I don't have physical stop losses set, it's all mental stops, so there's nothing triggered automatically. I have to go onto my broker platform, AJ Bell, and sell it. Effectively what happened is it fell all the way through, it fell through my mental stop and carried on going. And I've been trying to be more disciplined. So even though I thought that it might bounce back, I was like, no, it's hit the stop, let's sell it. So I went on and sold it, and it wasn't at the low, it was at the middle of the circle, so just below the stop. As I thought might happen, straight away afterwards it started rebounding. However, it has since come back. So if this continues downwards, we've actually made a very well-timed sell and the stop loss has done its job, but we'll wait and see. For now, they are struggling. They put out a profit warning, but I think long term it still passes my checklist. I've gone back through my checklist and redone all the numbers. it still passes my checklist. So it's just waiting for a return to strength in terms of the chart, in terms of the share price. Once it starts putting in an uptrend again, I'll reopen a position. But for now, we're just watching this one. And then Bioventix is another one that I got stopped out on my mental stop. Wait for the chart. So again, it was in an uptrend. It technically still is in an uptrend. I opened a position here just because it's in an uptrend and it was on a pullback. So I put a position in, and it's been kind of going sideways ever since. And there's this resistance line here that I had the intention of, if it breaks through there, adding to my position, and we carry on going. But what happened here? So if I zoom out slightly, we're in this rising trends, and I put this trend line in connecting the points, and I decided I'd put my stop below this rising trend line because I thought if it broke through that, it's likely that the stock is going to fall further. So what happened here? We had a huge leg down, which is probably kind of slight market manipulation, and it broke down, probably took a load of people's stops out. And again, this is one where I'm trying to be more disciplined. So even though I didn't really like doing it, I sold my position. And it just means I'm not in any danger. It was only a 7.5% loss. And now we're in a position that I will just wait now until it breaks through this resistance. Once it breaks into this green box and carries on going up, I will open a new position with a stop just below here. So there's been, both the sales this month have ones where I've been stopped out on mental stops. Both of them, while Kainos is actually back down at the level that I sold at, Bioventix, as you can see, has kind of shot back up, but I'm still pleased with the decision to sell. I stuck to my strategy. I had a stop loss set there. I sold when I should have done. If it had gone the other way and I decided I was going to ignore my stop that I'd set, and then it had carried on falling further, then that would have been a far worse situation than me selling what I should have done, and it's rebounded. And there's no one knows what's going to happen. It could still fall down further and go through lower than it was. So those are the two sales. So just to recap, not a bad month at all. Starting to put in some kind of nice moves for a lot of the stocks. If I load up the public portfolio, so these are all the stocks that are currently in my portfolio. I'll just do a very, very quick run through. So you can see where I bought each of these as well. If my computer would be a little quicker to load all the drawings. Okay, so I haven't got you displayed. Here we go. So these, let me do that again. So public portfolio, these are all the stocks I currently hold in the portfolio. So YouGov, I'll just run through all these very quickly. So the yellow dot is where I bought. So I got, in last month's update, I got stopped out as it came back down, and it shot straight back up, came back into this trading channel, and I bought on the momentum as it came back into this trading channel. It's since gone up, and I'm waiting for it to make a move out the top of the channel where I'll add to the position. So on my re-entry, I am up on YouGov, but we took a loss when we got stopped out when it fell through. AJ Bell, it's not showing much strength at the moment, but it's one that I've got very high hopes for in the long run. It's kind of in this quite large trading channel. I have a stop below the bottom of this trading channel, so if it falls through, that's going to be a serious sign of weakness, and will probably come down to this next support channel. So I'm not adding to this position at all until it kind of breaks, it turns up and breaks through this top section. All the financials are kind of in a similar boat. They're all showing a lot of weakness, and we're just waiting for a kind of turn in the market for some broad improvements. But I think when we do, all of the financial sector in the UK, I think, is vastly undervalued, and there's a lot of opportunities in there. So IG Holdings, so they do their trading platform. I've been building a small position here. It's kind of bouncing around in this area, and I'll add to the position when it breaks through the top here. We're kind of about break even on that at the moment, but it has just broken over the 150, so there's a bit of strength showing there. Impax Asset Management, so they're, as the name suggests, an asset manager. So they run investment trusts and investment funds and things. So they've obviously been struggling because everyone's been pulling their money out of funds and putting them into cash savings and bonds and things. So they've been having a tough time, and I've been building a position below the my valuation line. It's starting to show. The last month has shown a bit of a bounce back. It'd be interesting to see if this continues and this was the bottom. If it does, there's a level of support here and breaking above the 150. I'll add to the position here. Again, I have a stop just below this fairly recent level of support. Healthcare stocks. So Doximity is a US healthcare stock. They do kind of it's like the LinkedIn for medical professionals for physicians in the United States. This one had a bit of a fall, but it seems to have found a bottom and it's been showing a lot of strength recently. Again, I've been hesitant to buy down here just in case it fell further. I think if it pulls back to this position again and then kind of starts to bounce off for a third time, I will add to the position there because that's a good sign of a strong base down there. ResMed, another US healthcare stock, they did actually release an earnings report that wasn't too hot back here where I entered a position and unfortunately carried on falling. Again, in hindsight, if I zoom in a bit, that seems quite recent, but it was back in the summer, in August. In this intervening period, I've been developing my strategy. So in hindsight, I should have had a stop below here, and I will do in the future, but I didn't. But it has since found a bottom. And I think, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but I'm expecting this to gradually make its way back up. And Viva Systems, another US stock, which I was buying on the rising momentum. I had a stop down here from my original purchase, which I haven't moved, and it had a not so hot trading update around this period where it dropped 14% in a day, but I don't think it's too severe, and the market seems to agree it fell and it's kind of been bouncing, it's making its way back more recently. Tech, UK stock, Gamma Communications. It's just been, this is all the text is here from a previous video I did explaining my new trading strategy. So here you go, you can read these if you want. But yeah, if I zoom really far out, had the big run up for ages, for years, big pullback in the bear market we had, and it's just been bumbling along in this trading channel here. Very well defined trading channel. So I've built a position in this area. In hindsight, I'm not sure why I didn't wait for it to get to the bottom of the channel, but there we go. And I'm just waiting for this to either break through and hit stop or break through the top, and I will add to the position when it breaks through. Adobe we've gone through. So the big seven, so I own Google, Meta and Microsoft. In the last few days they've been showing a bit of weakness, so I'm unsure what's going to happen there, but I've got a stop for Google below it because it's been an uptrend. I just raise the stop each time there's a pretty serious pullback. So the previous stop was, well, down here when this previous pullback, but where it met the 150, so it was all the way down here. And then I pulled it, there was a pullback here. So I pulled the stop up to this point, and then we've had a big pullback here, didn't come down and hit the stop. So that's why I pull it to the 150, because it gives the stock room to kind of move, so you don't get stopped out too easily. We had a big pullback here, and once this started moving up again, I moved the stop loss to this point. So if it comes down and hits that, we get stopped out. It's not the end of the world. It looks like maybe it's just going to go sideways for a bit, but we will see. Meta, one of the best performing stock, well, the best performing stock in my portfolio. It's really helped me this year. You can see the meteoric rise this has been on over the past year and a bit, no, almost exactly a year. So we've ridden that all the way up. It's been going along in this trading channel, and I've just got a stop loss below this trading channel, the same as the others. I moved the stop loss up as we were moving up, and it's now sitting below this trading channel. It recently broke out kind of like Microsoft did, but it has since given that back. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just testing the top and is going to bounce and continue up, or if this is going to come back down to the bottom of the trading channel. I didn't add to this position as it broke through. purely because there wasn't much volume when it did it. So you can see at the bottom here that on the day that it broke through, there wasn't a huge amount of volume compared to the average. But also I have a full position in Meta, so I didn't really want to be adding much more to it. Microsoft we've been through, and Sylvania Platinum we have been through, initial entry there, so we'll see what happens there. And another holding in the portfolio is Serica Energy. So they are a small North Sea oil and gas company who have recently made, they used to be 95% gas production, and they this year have made an acquisition. They acquired Tailwind, a predominantly oil based energy company. So now their portfolio, instead of being very focused on gas, is pretty much a 50-50 split between oil and gas. And they're quite a small operation, which makes them very nimble. They can go in and take over or refurbish oil rigs and gas rigs, things that have been discarded by the larger operators like Shell and those types of people, BP, those types of people. And these, I believe, are incredibly undervalued. Obviously, whenever you're buying kind of like a gas and oil company or a mining company, you're making a bet on the commodity prices as well. But they're in such a strong position in terms of their cash flows and things. The government's windfall taxes aren't helping them at all at the moment, but they are still managing to perform strongly even with that as a headwind. So if they ever get reversed or lessened, then they have a huge tailwind behind them to shoot up. And I also have this as a slight bit of a hedge, rather than doing the traditional hedge of kind of going short on companies. I play this as a slight hedge on inflation, that if inflation does kick back in a strong way and oil and gas prices shoot up, I am holding an oil and gas company. Again, I've built a position down here below my valuation line. It's been bumbling along in this trading range, stopped below. If it breaks through the top, I'll add to my position here. And the other thing is they pay a very, very healthy dividend as well, which never hurts. Okay, so that is a very, well, wasn't that quick. How long have we been going? Half an hour. So a half an hour run through of my portfolio for November. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyone that is watching, please leave some comments, ask some questions, let me know how your portfolio is done in November. But yeah, on to December. I'm hoping for a bit of a Santa rally, but we will see. Either way, I'm quite comfortable and confident in my portfolio composition, in the companies that I'm holding, and in the potential additions in the watch list. So yeah, on to December. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I'll be doing a monthly update every month and occasionally putting out a video on various things to do with investing in between. Yeah. Hope you all have a good day. Goodbye.